Come see us on tour in Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Co-Host, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, Toledo, Ohio, and Toronto, Ontario. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. This is the Commerce Secretary. He's a billionaire. He's worth somewhere between $2 and $4 billion. And as I've told you, they're not cutting the Pentagon. What they're going to try to cut is your Medicaid, your Medicare, and your Social Security. That is the goal. That's been the goal for decades. It's not something new that I'm making up. That this has been the. And even though Trump has said both things. Trump has said, "I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch your Social Security or Medicare." Yes. And then he's also said numerous times, "Yeah, you got to cut entitlements." And
it's
of course,
use quantum physics, Jimmy. Yeah. You don't understand it.
And of course, they call them entitlements. And you know why they're called entitlements? Because you're entitled to them because you fucking paid for them. That's why.
If you stole the money, the government stole the money to use on, I don't know, some Ukraine bullshit or whatever. That shouldn't fall on me, should it?
So here's
that should come out of the Pentagon that stole it.
You would think. Well, here comes the Commerce Secretary. So what they're doing now, and I've already told you this a couple of days ago, is that they're going to try and screw up Social Security, make it not work, just like they tried to do the post office, which they're trying to do again.
But so remember when they have so much growth? Where do you see the growth?
Remember what they did to the post office, which for whatever you think works really well. And
you can send drugs through it, dude. It's awesome.
It's awesome. What they're doing, what they tried to do to post office was they said, oh, they have to fund their pension 80 years out. So they tried to bankrupt the post office so they could privatize it. Right. So, and then they could charge you 100% more for a letter. That's the whole goal of this.
What's more patriotic than privatizing something to an international corporation?
So they're doing that now. They're doing that now to Social Security. They're closing offices. They're cutting staff. They're making people reaffirm their identity. But then you got to wait a couple months before you can even do that. So it creates frustration for people, and they're going to be skipping people's payments. So they're trying to get people angry at Social Security, how it doesn't work.
First time in history.
Right.
First time it will be that people didn't get paid from Social Security in
Social
history.
Social Security has never missed a payment. But right now, here's the Commerce Secretary telling you, get ready for it.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain.
I wonder why a billionaire's mother-in-law wouldn't miss her couple of $1,000 check that month. I wonder what.
Yeah.
I wonder what. Isn't that something?
Who gives a fucking shit about your mother-in-law, motherfucker? Right. What about my mother? What about my mother? What about all my people?
You just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
A fraudster.
Yes, I've heard Israel before.
A fraudster is the only person who would complain if they didn't get their Social Security. So you see how he's priming people? What are you? You a fraudster? You want your Social Security check? Isn't it? You think Raytheon would complain if they didn't get their check that they were owed by the government?
I think they'd kill the president.
But yeah, that's right. By fraudsters. You think they mean if you don't get your tax refund from the IRS when it's due, if you complain, are you probably committing fraud? That's what he's saying. What do you think about, how about your weekly paycheck? If you didn't get your weekly paycheck and you complained, would that be because you were committing fraud? Do you think
only fraudsters want to be paid what they're owed, what they're genuinely owed?
Do you think this guy would have complained if the $14 million in 2024 bonus pay he got that check didn't arrive? You think he would have complained about that? Okay, here we go.
They could shill all they want, but if Trump allows this to happen, that'll be the biggest blunder he ever made with his own base. That Bannon's right about that.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their
checks. So let's listen to it again.
This month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
So you're a fraudster. So I want to know what his net worth is.
When I don't get money, I'm supposed to get I scream and yell and complain.
That's right.
Also, if you owe me, I will do that.
What is Howard Lutnick's net worth? He's probably has a net. This is from the street. He probably has a net worth between $2 billion and $4 billion, according to various sources. His wealth comes from his ownership stake in Cantor and other sources, based on his financial disclosures to the U.S. Office of Government Ethics. So,
I love the example of his mother-in-law. I mean, what an insightful way to break that to people. That should go over great.
So, guy who's worth $4 billion says, don't complain when your Social Security check doesn't come, because his mother-in-law, who doesn't rely on Social Security, wouldn't complain. So they're coming for your Social Security money. The first step is to cut staff and create chaos at the agency so people get frustrated with Social Security, and then they can push their decades-old plan of taking Social Security money and giving it to Wall Street. That's also known as privatizing Social Security, and George Carlin predicted this. So just in case everyone wanted a modern example of what this sort of people led to the French Revolution,
I can't believe the guy didn't have a wig. He should have a powdered wig on while he said that.
That's the sort of people.
Let them eat cake. How many different ways are you going to say let them eat cake to people?
And this, I don't think this isn't. Bill Clinton wanted to privatize Social Security. This isn't a Republican Democrat thing. As James Corbett revealed on our show and in his book, look up. Don't look over to left or right. Yeah. Look up.
The dark forces that puppet your stupid fake sham government.
This is the globalists.
You to have it.
This is the globalists. This is the WEF. This is the Bilderbergs. This is the ruling cabal, a secret group, tight-knit, that control the world finance. That's what this is. And they want it. They want your Social Security money, and they're going to get it. And so there's that. So there's your Commerce Secretary, a billionaire.
It wasn't enough robbing you with inflation to go pay for this bull. We haven't won a war in 80 years, and they just robbed you for that the whole time, and they're going to screw you out of you. Like an insurance company, much like that, a Luigi Mangione style insurance company.
It's getting so bad that Republicans are telling Elon Musk to shut up about cutting Social Security. That's how bad it's getting. Republicans want him to shut up about Social Security, and that's from a conservative newspaper. They're all conservatives, by the way. They just say it out loud. They're all newspapers are owned by the same cabal of people who want to take your Social Security money. Just so you know.
Yeah, one group will pretend to be upset about it, like after it's done.
Yep.
And then nothing will happen.
Senate Republicans want Elon Musk to stop talking about Social Security and the Department of Government Efficiency, to leave it alone. Musk's statements that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme that's been going since the 30s that has never missed a payment. Isn't that interesting? That's quite a Ponzi scheme. And his plans to cut up to 12% of the Social Security Administration's workforce are giving GOP lawmakers heartburn. They warn that Social Security reform is known as the third rail of politics for a reason. Any party that touches it is likely to get zapped come Election Day. And Republicans fear that reductions in staff and field offices will boomerang on them, predicting constituents will grow frustrated if it becomes more difficult and time-consuming to address problems related to benefit claims. It doesn't help the president when you have somebody who clearly is not worried about whether or not Social Security benefits are going to be there for him, leading the effort to shrink the Social Security Administration. Who said that? Republican Senator Murkowski, referring to Musk, who's the world's richest person. She said Musk claimed that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme and rife with fraud doesn't do anything to calm the anxiety of people who are already anxious about what's going on with some of the safety net programs. Musk declared Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. He said that in a 3-hour interview on Joe Rogan.
Really? Not Herbalife?
Not the war machine. Not the Pentagon. Not the Ukraine war.
Not a dozen things that didn't pay out.
You're right.
Not Hawk-Tuah coin.
Not the Iraq war. Not the Libyan war. Not the Syrian war. Not 20 years of Afghanistan. None of those things are Ponzi schemes. The biggest one is one that actually has never missed a payment that people pay into and rely on when they retire.
That they need. I mean, I know they're people from this country, so fuck them. I get that part of it, but I just think it won't do well with the electorate. That's all. I'm just trying to be strategic, Jimmy.
Several other Republican senators said Musk should stop talking about Social Security and steer his budget-cutting team at DOGE in a different direction. Yeah, like as Steve Bannon said, why don't you go across the Potomac and why don't you start going after the Pentagon? They're never going to do that.
Did Trump make a secret promise to the widow Adelson to cut Social Security? Is that what this is about? Promises made, promises kept?
He should zip it on that. It's not helpful. It plays right into Democrats' hands. They want to talk about Social Security cuts, Medicare cuts, Medicaid cuts, and we don't. The president does not want to talk about that. He's against all those things, said a Republican senator who requested anonymity. The senator said it would be okay to talk about cracking down on fraud in the system, but warned when you start making it sound like you're questioning the foundation of Social Security system, that's not helpful. You mean when you call it the biggest Ponzi scheme in the history of the world?
First of all, it's the only way they get away with all the other Ponzi schemes is because they haven't missed a payment. If they ever missed a payment, all the Gary Sinise concerts in the world wouldn't make old people support the war machine anymore.
In an interview with Fox Business host Larry Kudlow earlier this month, Musk suggested that $500 billion to $700 billion in waste could be cut from the federal entitlement programs, not the Pentagon.
I thought he meant the Pentagon. I can't even believe he's talking about something that somebody needs.
By the way, again, why do they call them entitlements? Because we're entitled to them.
Oh, you and your entitlements.
Most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's the big one to eliminate. So that's what they're going after. Medicaid, Medicare.
No, it isn't. Did they lose $2.3 trillion in entitlements twice so far?
Twice? Did that happen?
That they told us about? Did they? I don't think they did. It's always an op to make you think the military is a foregone conclusion that we got to have the most military in the world. We literally could not win a war with anyone. You know how I know? Because we haven't won a war with anyone. How do you make a complex and then not win a war ever again?
So just to let people know, here's the 5 big myths about Social Security funding crisis. That Social Security will be bankrupt. Social Security will not run out of money. The program is financed by payroll taxes, so as long as workers pay into the system, money's always going to be coming in. Last year, an estimated 183 million people had earnings subject to Social Security payroll taxes. Those taxes are collected under the FIC, the Federal Insurance Contributions Act, or FICA. Employers and employees each pay 6.2% of wages up to the taxable maximum. So if you make over $168,000, you don't have to pay anymore. Isn't that weird? So if they lifted
that's
that,
a good incentive, yeah.
So if they lifted that cap, if you had to keep paying as if you made $1 million or $1 billion, and you had to keep paying your fair share. So I pay just as much into Social Security as Bill Gates. Isn't that weird?
It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me.
If you're self-employed, you pay the entire 12 point. I actually pay more.
Yeah, but look at what you get for it.
It's the Social Security trust funds reserves that are projected. So the trust funds reserves are projected become depleted, not empty. What's happening is much like financial difficulties individuals may face. Suppose you have a major financial crisis and you use up all the money in your bank and savings account. You're still working, so cash is still coming in, but it might not be enough to pay all of your monthly obligations.
Dude, if young people can't afford anything, what's going to happen to people that don't get their Social Security? They're not all in rent-controlled buildings, right?
The Old Age and Survivors Insurance, or OASI program, which pays retirement and survivor benefits, will be able to pay 100% of the benefits until 2023. I think they upped that recently to 2036. If Congress fails to act, there will be enough projected income coming in to cover almost 80% of everyone's benefits. We're not bankrupt. We're not without money. We just wouldn't have that reserve to make up the full 100%. And you could fix it. Myth number 4, the federal government has raided the Social Security trust funds. There's no trust fund. One reader wrote in response to a recent column on this topic, the money was stolen and spent on bridges to nowhere. Well, that's not true. Think of your Social Security trust funds like your savings account, and the bank then repays you with interest when you make a withdrawal. When you make a deposit, the bank takes your money, puts it to work by lending it out for home loans, auto loans. By law, every dollar of income coming into Social Security Trust Fund is invested in interest-bearing securities backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. So it doesn't go into a trust fund. It goes into, they buy treasury bonds with it so that the government owes Social Security that money. Yes, the money has been spent for other government needs, but that does not mean Social Security gets worthless IOUs. The securities held by the trust fund have always been honored and have all other Treasury securities. So unless the country completely collapses, we'll always have that Social Security money that they put into securities.
Bro, that's really bigger than I thought. A bigger... It's such a scheme that it's liquid.
So what they're doing to Social Security, they're trying to make it dysfunctional, and they're trying to get people propagandized against it. They're doing the same thing to the post office, and this isn't the first time they've done this.
Oh,
and this is bipartisan.
Office, yeah.
Henry Waxman, who was the chairman of the committee that did this the first time in 2006. This is Democrats and Republicans beholden to the international bankers and economic hitmen. That's what this is. They want to sell off the most profitable parts of the post office and then raise your rates to send a letter 100%.
You know, like they did with the airplanes and the hospitals and the everything.
That's right. So when private equity funds run your hospital, you get shitty service at way higher prices.
Oh, and your firemen and every single aspect that you pay out your ass for, that you get less than Soviet service.
So there's a memo that came out, fueled by Donald Trump's billionaire cabinet and the Department of Government Efficiency anti-government crusade. Privatizers are on the prowl. The first month of Trump 2.0 has been a bonanza of unabashed scamming and self-dealing by the country's wealthy elite. The administration has sent a clear signal to profiteers. Now's your chance to get in on the action. For decades, the right and the left and the Democrats, this isn't a right-left thing. That's a scam to get you to hate half the country.
By the way, if the post
don't
office
look
didn't
left
work,
or right, look up. What do you want?
If the post office didn't work, people wouldn't send drugs through it, by the way.
Now it's working to make that dream a reality. In December, Trump indicated that he was considering placing the United States Postal Service under the Department of Commerce. Just recently, Luis DeJoy, the Trump-appointed Postmaster General, agreed to partner with DOGE to get the ball rolling. Major financial institutions are giddy at the prospect. Last month, Wells Fargo released a memo outlining political pathways to achieve postal privatization and the various opportunities for profit. Their plan is clear: sell off the most profitable parts, raise prices, and decimate the unionized workforce. That's the game.
Finally.
The scheme represents an attack on the very foundations of this popular universal public service. Wells Fargo envisions a postal service where the mail is kept as a taxpayer-funded government entity, while the package and parcel components of the postal service, which are way more profitable, are sold to private industry. So they're you're gonna keep the part that doesn't make money is when you send a letter. So that's cheap, because the post office makes more money off their package and parcel delivery.
Yeah.
And they use that to subsidize when you send a letter.
Oh, man. Imagine having your customer service from like Verizon or Comcast.
Yeah. Or Facebook.
Yeah. Oh.
You know how you get good customer service from Facebook?
I'm being too optimistic. It's going to be like a Postmates issue where you're going to talk to a computer. And
That's right.
You ain't going to have the state employee that you don't like.
In order for the new private company to earn a decent profit, the United States Postal Service would need to raise prices by 30 to 140% across its product line. That's what they're going to do. A privatized postal system would also take aim at the universal service obligation, which requires the mail to be delivered to every address 6 days a week. So no matter where you live in the middle of the desert, you live on the top of a mountain, the postal service has to deliver to your house 6 days a week. You know who doesn't? UPS, FedEx. When they privatize it, they don't have to do that anymore. Such dedication to equitable service would be a challenge for a third-party operator to profitably move mail and packages. That's the memo from Wells Fargo says. This move would also put pressure on the proposed mail-only service, which would likely be financially hobbled. So what they're telling you is their plan. Their plan is to cripple the post office in the way they serve you so they can extract more profit.
Yeah, that bank with the great reputation.
Yeah. Doe's assault on federal workers has seemingly given Wells Fargo inspiration. Citing recent Doe's efforts on federal cost control, it recommends that postal employees be given a deferred buyout offer to leave, or layoffs could ensue. Taking a page from the UK's Royal Mail privatization in 2013, it suggests that the government take over all pension liabilities and not offer them to workers at the new private company.
What does that mean?
So they're meaning, so when FedEx takes over the mail service, they don't offer them pensions.
Oh, good.
Yeah. With surprising candor, the memo admits that privatization will cause less job security amid inevitable loss of union protections, loss of pension benefits, higher healthcare costs, and employee wage restructuring. So they're going to screw the workers. So that's what. So when you privatize this post office, we're going to screw the workers in every which way possible, so a couple of rich investors can make money.
What do they mean? Admits they're not admits it's not a bug. That's the feature.
That's the feature. Instead of privatization, the Postal Service should be expanded to perform services like postal banking, copying documents, wrapping holiday presents, and more. They should be expanding the Postal Service, not shrinking it and selling it off. So they're going to sell off the part that's really profitable, bankrupt the part that's not, the part you really need, and screw the workers.
Wait, does Wells Fargo happen to own like some kind of controlling interest in, say, FedEx or UPS or one of the ones that don't want to pay union workers? So if you get rid of that, there's no need for them to be competitive on any level with anything.
You know what else they did in England? They privatized the water, and then they raised the water rate 60%.
Yeah, now they're getting rid of the NHS because
now they're going to get rid of that.
Because Ukraine's that important.
It's a neoliberal nightmare in London, just like it is in the United States. We give everything over to corporations. You want to give firefighting over to corporations too? Let's see how that works out.
You might have to, like that dude in L.A. That guy. I mean, you might have no choice and have to Wild West it because it looks like they're going to ruin everything.
Financial institutions and then only rich people will have firefighting, which is what kind of like how bad it's gotten. Financial institutions like Wells Fargo want to turn an essential public service into another money-making machine and destroy unionized workers in the process. That's exactly what. So they want to do that to Social Security. They want to do it to Medicare, Medicaid. They want to do it to the Postal Service. Hooray!
Oh yeah, Medicaid.
And then they'll come for the fire departments next.
Hey, what if Medicaid?
It's got to make a profit.
Negotiate. It's not good. What if they could negotiate prices like you made it so they can't do?
Yeah.
I bet that could cut a lot of the waste.
Our sponsors, Colonial Metals Group, helped me with my goal of protecting my financial future. Being at the whim of the stock market or the current administration doesn't make me feel safe or secure, but having a self-directed IRA where I can safely store gold and silver, assets that have stood the test of time, no matter what the economy or the government policies are, makes sense to me. Colonial Metals Group has helped me create a self-directed IRA where I can have direct access to my assets. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. Their level of professionalism and ability to listen make it easy for you to learn everything you need to know about preserving all you've worked for. Maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you're already in a 401k or an IRA, or you're thinking about your parents' retirement. Regardless, Colonial Metals Group can help. We put together a special offer for our audience. Click on the link in the description below or call our special 800 number, and you can receive a safe and up to $7,500 in free silver. That number is 888-910-1419. We love working with Colonial Metals. I chose them when I purchased my gold and silver for my retirement. No matter who you choose to purchase precious metals from, make sure you know the fees up front and what their markup is, and make sure you're getting a competitive price. Come see us on tour in Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Co-host, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, Toledo, Ohio, and Toronto, Ontario. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.